What's going on, guys? It is Madman Plant, and we are starting just 30 minutes, almost 45 minutes late. But don't worry, we have a wonderful podcast for you tonight. I do want to talk about a couple quick things before we jump into it. One, obviously, as you guys know, mental health is a huge part of this platform, and I'm battling my own mental health. And working with other people, I've learned to truly value others more and learn from their stories and learn about myself while learning about them. And I'm just so thankful to be in a position where I get to learn about people the way that I do and have the discussions that I do. Tomorrow, if you're in the Fredericksburg area, we have a panel called the Vindec EU Healing the Hustle, which is going to be located at Always Flavored, which is off of Caroline Street, from 6:30 to 8:30, and it's a new series of events that I'm putting together designed for entrepreneurs, business owners, parents, survivors, trauma, you name it. And it's a way to connect on a different level versus just your average conversation. This is all about mental health and wellness, and I'm very excited about that. Tonight we have Henry Roberts, who is a true survivor and somebody that is reshaping his own future and really leading the path, letting other people know that you know what you've gone through or what you've been through and where you are now are two different places, and it's all about mindset. So let's bring on Henry.
Hey,
What's going on, Henry?
how's it going, man?
Dude, I am just so glad you're here. First
Thank-
of all, one, physically as a person here on this planet, and then two, on this podcast, and I'm just so thankful to have people like you who are so willing and just putting themselves out there to tell a story that we can all learn from.
Right, right. And I just want to thank you. I'm so sorry for being so late.
It's
That's on
okay.
me. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited to be on, and I'm really excited to hopefully be able to help some people and
Oh,
help them realize that they're not alone, and
no, I agree with you 100% that they're not alone.
yeah.
And people like you and other people out there who are sharing their stories, this allows them to know that they're not. So before we dive into kind of the darkness, let's talk a little bit about Henry. So tell everybody, who Henry is today.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, let's start with some lighthearted conversation and then we'll dive into the deep. But
Yeah.
tell a little bit about you. You love fishing.
Oh, dude, bro,
I say the
you
word
just
fishing and you light up like a
you're a
Christmas tree.
lake. I'm happier than a fucking duck in water. I'm pulling my hand, man. Like I'll fish all damn day. Like, don't just leave me out there with a bunch of bait and hooks. Cause I'll stay out there all day.
What do
And
you think? What do you think you love about fishing so much?
honestly, so I prefer a tight line. Even more now that I'm blind, I prefer a tight line for catfish.
Okay.
And honestly, it's really just the peacefulness of just sitting there listening to like the nature around you, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got hit, and like you gotta like just react to that, and it's just like it's just like the peacefulness, and all of a sudden, boom, it's kind of like it gets your adrenaline going a little bit. Just like you want to know what's on the other end of the line, and you want to know how big of a fish you got, and if a good bite, and it's a good sized fish. It's just
Or you get
fun.
into the problem where you think you got a good fish, and either you got seaweed, a license plate, a tire,
Fucking.
maybe a toilet seat cover, like in a Forrest Gump.
I've never personally experienced. I had the experience of pulling anything up like that other than seaweed or a log, but yeah.
So, what else are you into?
Oh, I love the hunt. I love guns. Um,
Like guns too.
I love my family. Um, uh, I love being able to help. I love just being positive, or as positive as I can be, and Because, like, in a weird way of looking at it, like, I think people look at me and, like, see that I don't have a face and, like, see how positive I am. And then it's just like, damn, I don't even have it as hard as he is. Like, he's got, but he's over here laughing, having a good time, so why should my type shit, you know? And I love just being positive because, I mean, ever since I met my wife and I started surrounding myself with people who are just constantly being positive influences on my life, my life's just been 10 times better. And it's just absolutely amazing. And yeah.
I love that you credit Madison. Madison is
Oh,
your wife,
oh,
and
yeah, yeah. My wife, Madison, and
yep, I do the same thing with Lacey, my wife.
yeah,
I owe it all to her. You know, like you said, life has gotten 10 times better with a family and people that care about you and really support you and get you, you know, because sometimes even if you do have a face, you sometimes you walk around like people are looking at your face like what's wrong with you, and you're like, hey, I'm just trying to, you know, relate and vibe, and you
yeah.
know what I mean. So
So I've made jokes. My wife made jokes about getting those glasses that have the fake nose and the fake mustache, and
oh
just like
yes.
just playing that, and just seeing like people's reactions and shit. And
I'm telling you, YouTube channel in the making, you know?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you get them to look away and then you take it off and they look back and they're like, wait a second.
Like that dude had a nose. Like
I
5
swear to God,
seconds.
that guy had a nose.
Like did he have a mustache too? Like what?
right?
Yeah.
All right.
And
Good.
probably the biggest thing I love more than anything is comedy. I fucking love. I love watching comedians. I love watching just funny shows, movies. Like there's nothing like life's way too long not to laugh. It's way too
Yes.
long not to laugh, and like that was like another reason why whenever you and I were talking about like always seeing the positive sides of things, you know, and like no matter what the situation is, at least trying to find one positive out of everything that happened. And if you're able to find more, great, you know. But even if you're only able to find that one, hold on and cherish that one positive thing and focus on it than all the negative shit.
That's some real wisdom for the crowd right now. You know what I mean? Especially being in your position where, you know, not only, you know, did you go through an experience, you also live with it every day in different ways that, you know, most people don't. And to be able to remember that in such, you know, in a way, darkness, you know, it's just such a powerful thing. Where do you think you get all that energy from? Why today do you choose positivity over negativity?
Oh, 100% how I grew up. 100% how, like, that's 100% how I grew up. Because, I mean, from the age of 5 is whenever, like, my true trauma started as a kid. And then I constantly, like, Prince Clearwater Revival, Who Stopped the Rain, like,
Yes.
I understood the lyrics to that song at such a young age and realizing that, like, you know, like the lyrics to that song is, you know, you going through day to day life, putting on a brave face and acting like nothing's wrong, but in all reality, like the soreness in your head of all the bullshit and negativity, you know, it's stopping and you're getting that moment of clarity and like you're actually able to enjoy the moment of whatever's going on. And like, I understood the lyrics to that song at such a young age, and I just I stuck with it, man. Cause like no matter what the situation is that I'm in, I'm gonna make jokes about it. I mean, so for instance, a week before this last Christmas that we just had, I dislocated my right pinky. And, it was completely bent at like a right angle, and I was sitting there doing the Doctor Evil pose,
Yes.
and it doesn't matter what me and my wife, I really really wish I was able to find it in the storage unit, but we weren't. The 911 call of me shooting myself. Yeah, it took 3 or 4 times for me and her to listen to it all the way through before we started finally making jokes about it, how I was telling the 911 operator that I didn't shoot myself. And he was just like, "Did you shoot yourself?" And I'm like, "No." And he was just like, "What?" And I'm like, "N-O." And the whole time, they're thinking that I shot myself, and I'm just sitting there telling them that I didn't. It was just funny as fuck.
I'm glad that you can laugh about it now, and why do you think you appreciate it in that sense where you can laugh about it, where most people, maybe who go through it on the other flip side of the coin feel like that's too deep to even discuss?
Well, let me answer your question with another question.
Great, let's go.
So, I know it's kind of frowned upon nowadays, but I mean, back in the day, people used to make Jewish shows all the time. It's the same thing. It's just because it's that fucked up. At least in my eyes, you know? It's that fucked up of where, nobody should ever laugh about anything that happened involving that. Yeah, I'm able to sit there and laugh my ass off at what I went through personally. And, I truly believe that others should be able to laugh at it too, you know? I mean, I'm not the only one that should be allowed to feel like I can laugh at it. And, it's, I don't know. Yeah.
I have a morbid sense of humor, so I appreciate the dark humor a
Right.
lot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's a lot of times I'm probably like you. I could laugh at a funeral, and everybody piss everybody else off, but I found a little humor in it. You know what I mean? And I think that's, in your, at least in your case, what should you do after surviving, a near death experience like suicide? Better to laugh it off than, be filled with rage and all these emotions where you can't
Right.
escape,
Right. And it took me a long time to truly get past a lot of it. Granted, there is still some of it that it gets me today, but I've moved past so much stuff, and I've really truly had to learn how to forgive myself for it, you know? Because a lot of the guilt of surviving and being in the position that I was in was all in my own hands. So I had to learn how to forgive myself for putting myself in a situation that I found myself in after waking up in the hospital, you know? And it's just one of those things, you know? And yeah.
Is it easy to forgive yourself?
No.
Talk,
Um
talk a little
no,
bit about that.
I put so much of a burden on so many of the loved ones that I had in my life, and it put a lot of strain on a lot of my relationships with people. And when I first came home, all the medical equipment that I had to have, it wasn't cheap. Plus the diet that they had me on, that was not cheap at all. And because I remember coming home and my mom telling me it was 2 grand a month for my food, and I was like, "You're fucking playing." She was like, "No." And I tried to sell my truck and my volume price for 4 grand, and just that way my mom would be able to have money to cover it and stuff. And whenever she found I was trying to sell my truck, she talked to me and was just like, "Listen, bud, you ain't gotta worry about that. I don't want you worrying about finances right now. If anything, just start helping out whenever you get your Social Security." And I was just like, "All right." And
And
this
this
is
is your mom you're talking to.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Um, it was really weird, like having to rely on her to help me with so much. Um, a lot of, like it was just really weird because like whenever I first came home and I had the trait, like I didn't really know like how to like shower, like how I was gonna like do it. And it just scared me, you know. Like the thought of drowning scared the fuck out of me. So like I would have to just, like sit in a shower chair and like bathe out of the tub, and like I could never really get myself like 100% clean. And sorry, and it wasn't until like I was able to get into the shower and actually wash my hair, and like it took me like it been like 2 weeks before like I actually showered, and by then I had my hair cut. Because for some reason, while I was in the hospital, they shaved like the whole front of my head, but left everything long. And yeah, it was weird.
Well, let's go ahead and start diving deeper.
Uh,
When do you think the first time you ever experienced trauma was in your life?
oh, 100% when I was so I was 5, and I was raped by my babysitter's 16-year-old son. And like it didn't start out as a rape because I went to his house 2 days. And the first day I went there, I went to his room because I was really big into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards at that age. And he had like the battle deck station that like sat on their arm. I don't know if you know like about Yu-Gi-Oh at all, but there's a
That
battle deck
when
station.
I was growing up, that was the time frame I was in. So Yu-Gi-Oh was big, Pokemon was big. So I know I was never in the card game, but I know enough to know what you're talking about.
Okay, but like he had the battle deck station and like a bunch of cards, and like to let me play with that, he would pin me down and make out with me. And then the
Mm.
next day I went there, like I went home and I told my mom and my stepdad about it, and they didn't believe me. Like they legit gave me like my little pocket knife that I had in my tackle box and said like if he did it again to like stab him. And when when I went there the next day, I went back up to his room to play with the toys. So it's like he had really, really, really cool toys, and like I really wanted to play with them, and like it was like a completely different thing. Like he like compared like my dick size to his, and like said like whoever's is bigger like got their dick sucked first, and like I had to suck his dick. And then after I threw up on the floor, he ended up like fucking me in the ass. And after that happened, I ran downstairs, and I remember laying on the couch. I remember feeling blood just like essentially pouring out of my ass. And I remember going to the bathroom, and there was so much blood in my underwear. And I just remember grabbing the toilet paper, wiping all of it out of my underwear, so that way it wouldn't bleed through into my shorts. And I went into the kitchen. I grabbed their home phone because I remember learning like before I started going to babysitters' houses that home phones like were if you ever call 911, a home phone is immediately attached to the address. I ended up calling 911, and the babysitter's mom like found out. She took the phone from me. She ended up cleaning out the inside of my asshole with a washcloth, put all of my bloody clothes in a bag. Her husband comes home. He grabs the bag, goes out in their backyard, And like this woods is like barely even woods. Like I wanted to like it was just a backyard that had trees, essentially. And he just goes in there, throws the bag down, kicks some leaves over it. I see him do this, and his wife, and like the whole time that happened, I'm making sure that, like his wife can't see me like watch him do this, and she's on like the computer doing something, and I'm watching him like place it there, so like I knew where my clothes were, and he comes back inside. The fucking the cops show up. He snatches me up, puts me in a chokehold, covers my face, and I remember like I can like to this day like I still have nightmares like feeling whispers on my like ear and neck of people telling me that they're gonna like kill me and shit. And like he literally like whispered to me that like he was gonna kill me if I like moved or screamed. And like he had me completely pinned to him as his wife was like talking to the cops and like she explained to them that like I just learned what that word meant, and I thought that like what the brother did, or not the brother, but what their son did, was that, and the cops just essentially left. Like they didn't even check on me or anything like that. And my mom and my stepdad get home, and immediately I flipped the fuck out. I flipped the fuck out, telling them that it got worse and that they never should have brought me back here. And they're like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "I'm not wearing the same clothes that I came in today." They're like, "What happened?" And I was just like, "He put his thing in my butt." And like, I go to the back door, and like, I'm looking at the bag of clothes, and I look at my stepdad, and I'm telling him that I can direct him to my clothes if my mom called him on the phone and directed him to it. And he was like, "All right." And he went out in the backyard. And as I'm telling him where to go in the backyard, he's right on top of it. I'm like, "Dude, check the leaves around. It's right there. It is right there." He picks it up, brings it in. They open it up, see my bloody clothes, and for some reason, they had asked me what I wanted to do, if I wanted to call the cops or if I wanted to come back and fight them. And me being the 5-year-old that I was, thinking that my dad was, a superhero, I was like, yeah, let's fight them. Like, we can totally win. No. My mom and my stepdad got their asses beat, and we ended up destroying all of their kitchen appliances, their TV in the living room, the dining table, the fridge, stove, microwave, dishwasher, everything. Like we destroyed thousands of dollars worth of stuff, and um, that was 100% the first type of trauma I ever experienced as a kid.
Okay, so I'm so sorry that that happened to you. And my wife Lacey, who you met before,
But
says that is absolutely heartbreaking, and it is. One of the things is, did before the attack, did the the babysitter's son ever like do any of this, or is it just he made out with you and the next day you got abused and that
so
was it?
the first day he just made out with me. Like he never raped me. He never like the most that happened was like he was like drying on me and I could feel his dick on me. And that was like the most that happened the first day. The second day was full blown, completely different. Like he just raped the fuck out of me.
Now you said that you were in the bathroom and there was blood. You were cleaning it up. The moms came in and saw what was going on,
No,
and or you
no,
called 911 first.
right, right.
Okay.
After I cleaned everything up, I called 911, and she like heard me on the phone, and I hung up and tried to like hide the phone. Like she like
Mhm.
pulled it out of my pants, put the phone up, changed my clothes, clean like just essentially tried to clean everything up, so there was no evidence of anything that happened.
Now,
And
at your young age, what is going on? on your mind right now? Like, what are you
I was
thinking?
trying to protect my brother and my sister, like my baby brother that was like just not even a year old, and my little sister who was 2. At that
Oh, wait,
point,
they're at the house too.
yeah, at that point, I'm
Okay.
thinking about their protection, what I need to do to keep them safe, and the fact that I'm not leaving their side at all. Like, I did not leave their side at all.
Um, Lacey said that she was molested by a babysitter's daughter when she was 5. And Master Yoda says it's amazing that the cops never separated you from the other
Dude,
people. The
that's
reason
what the
why,
fuck I'm saying. Like, how. And dude, like, when I was on the fucking phone, I told them that I did not want to get off the phone until the cops showed up. And they fucking hung up. I had to call them back and literally tell them that what happened again. And they still did not fucking come in and check on me. They literally just took the babysitter's mom's word and went the fuck with it. And like, how the fuck did you ever receive a phone call from a 5-year-old talking about that and not have the fucking decency or the morality or the fucking ethicalness of being a police officer to do your fucking job and at least look at the fucking kid? Like, it was
well,
so fucked up, dude. It was so fucked up.
the unfortunate part, what I was going to say is a lot of cold case murders, a lot of them are done by negligence of law enforcement not doing their due diligence.
Right.
And that's the problem is, oh, this seems like a nice family. Sure, it's the kid going crazy, whatever. I don't want to deal with the headache. I can't see enough, for it to be a problem,
Yeah.
and never asking or more. And that's the cops' responsibility. I mean, they're law enforcement. They got a 911 call to the house. It is their duty while they're in service, and providing service to your that address that
Right.
they need to investigate. What
Right.
happened to the kid that called 911? Where's he? You know what I mean? Like, where's this kid?
I was in tears on the fucking phone, like whispering to the 911 operator because I didn't want to be heard. Like, I was terrified, dude. Like, I didn't know what was gonna happen. And like, when the mom found the phone and realized what happened and like cleaned out the inside of my ass with a washcloth, like, dude, it was so fucking horrible. Like,
That's deep, man. I mean, you're violated at that point. You're a kid. You think you're in a safe place, and then to be like left with that confusion where nobody really knows, and then you're going home and you're trying to tell your parents, and you're like, look, these aren't the same clothes you sent me in. I mean, that's a very like
huge red
intense
flag.
conversation. Yeah.
Like, what happened to my son's clothes? Like, where are they at? Like, if he had an accident, why aren't they clean and why aren't they, like, being sent home with him? Like, at that point, I was completely potty trained. Like, I wasn't, like, wearing diapers or nothing. Like, I wore underwear. And, like, honestly, like, in my eyes, I can, in a really, really fucked up way, I should forgive the cops a little bit more than my own parents in that situation. Like, I should totally understand my parents' anger and frustration, but with all the evidence that they had, they should have just called the cops. They should have just told the cops. Like, they shouldn't have given me the option. A 5-year-old who has just been through some horrific traumatic experience and just let me decide what was going to happen. And it was just really fucked up, man.
So, as we move forward deeper into this conversation, when do you think the next trauma that you experienced was?
Just a few months after that,
And
when
what was that?
my mother tried to pimp me out to my uncle. And
Now,
so the way that happened was I joined the therapy at one point in time for this, and it was only one session. And it was only one session because I ended up pulling a pair of scissors on the therapist. Because I got freaked out about him asking me like different names for what you would call a penis. And I didn't like it. I found a pair of scissors in the room. I snuck up behind him and put the scissors to his throat. And he saw me in the window, like in the reflection of the window. And like he flipped the fuck out. I was flipping the fuck out. And like he pretty much recommended that I go to a psych ward. My mom and dad never took me there because like I told them I'd rather be at home and go through like the healing process with them than away from them. And they had asked me, they were like, so why did you do like what he wanted you to do? And I told him that, like he sucked my dick, like it felt good. Like I didn't know what was gonna happen. Like, and all I told them was that like part of like what happened felt good. And my mom would keep asking me for weeks if like I meant that part of like what happened felt good, and I was like, yeah. And I remember one day she took me to my aunt and uncle's. She stopped me at Starbucks, and I was playing on my DS and I was playing some Pokemon games. And she had asked me on the way there if part of what happened I liked, and I told her yeah. And I asked her why she was asking, she was like, I just wanted to know. We get to my aunt and uncle's house, and I'm in my room playing on my game, and my mom comes in the room and she asked me if there was a part of what happened to me that I liked. And then she was like, do you want a better childhood? And I was like, well, yeah. And I just remember her grabbing me by the shoulder, dragging me out of the bed, and like forcefully walking me down the hall into the living room. And as I come around the corner of the dining table that's in the living room, my uncle was sitting in his chair, his dick out of his pants, half hard, pubes hanging out and everything. And my mom just pushes me on my knees in front of him. And at this point, I'm crying. And I'm just looking at him right in the eyes and I'm shaking my head, going, no, no, no. And he put his shit back in his pants. I stood up, looked at my Aunt Marge, and I was like, this is your job. What he's wanting me to do is your job. That's what a wife is for. Like, a husband and wife do that. And I remember looking at my mom being like, what? Why? And I remember going out into the backyard with my slingshot and I was shooting walnuts out of the tree in the backyard. And my uncle, he had he had actually offered to let me shoot my little 22. And I said, yeah. And I started shooting my 22. And I remember at one point I loaded it and I pointed it at my head. And I told him that I was going to shoot myself and kill myself. And he convinced me not to do it because he told me that it wouldn't work because the 22 will barely show a swirl, and that um, if I didn't, after he died, I would get a huge life insurance check. And I just didn't. And and from then on, I started suppressing memories that if I didn't want to remember it, I did everything in my power not to remember it. Whether it was acting a fool in school, you know, acting out, being disrespectful. Like, I did anything and everything. I got in a lot of trouble up in Brownsburg. I even pulled a pair of scissors on a kid because he grabbed my crotch and I pulled a pair of scissors out on him in the middle of the classroom. And they had to switch me classes. And I actually ended up having to transfer schools because all the kids were fucking scared of me. And yeah.
First of all,
Hello?
I just wanted to say how brave you're being, and I'm so thankful for your transparency. I do want to talk a little bit about that. What does that do for you as a child when your own mother is leading you down a bad path, literally to
So,
the knees of your uncle? Like, what is going through your head? You said you were crying, but are you disassociating where you're thinking it's not real? Do you think it's like a dream? Like,
oh,
what's
I knew it was
happening?
100% real. I knew it was 100% real. I knew that, like, everything that I saw and everything that was happening was actually happening, and that they were wanting me to do something that his, like, did. And whatever it was, I wasn't going to do it.
Well, I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to be forced to be doing anything like that to begin with, and nobody should force
Right.
anybody to.
Right.
Now, talk a little bit about your mom also abused you as well. Now,
Yeah.
did at any time in the timeline of the babysitter's son to now your uncle and your mom, like they're not taking into account that once they tried to beat somebody's ass and destroy someone's house for touching you, and then it goes right back to you.
I'm sorry. I got a notification. It was talking over you. What was that,
Oh, it's
Bob?
okay. Okay, so you had mentioned that when your parents found out when you were abused, you said that they gave you a choice. You could either call 911 or they could beat their asses. And because you were young and you thought your dad was a superhero, you were like, yeah, let's go with that option. So you went over to the house, you guys destroyed everything in their house. But after doing all of that for your honor, as what a parent should do if
Right.
their kids violated,
Right.
why did they turn the tables on you and
So,
start violating you?
I want to be very clear with this.
Yes, please do.
My stepdad at the time had nothing to do with this.
Okay.
At the time, my mom was separating from my stepdad at the time, and he had no association, no idea, or any kind of involvement in what my mom was doing with me and my uncle.
Hmm. So, do you think in your mom's case it was a sick act of like desperation because her husband was no longer with her, or what do you think
So
would
I
make somebody
I
do
personally
that?
believe that my mom saw it as a money ticket. Me sitting there saying that there was a part of what happened that I liked, and not saying anything else and like going into detail of what part I liked. She thought that fucked up shit should happen to me, and I would keep my mouth shut about it because I liked the way it felt. And because
Mm.
she did the same shit to him as a kid, and she gave her vacations and all this and that, she would do the same thing for me, and she would use that as a way to get a car or a house or anything like that.
So in a way, it's all part of a grooming scam.
Yeah,
He grooms her to groom you, so he can get what he wants. She gets what she wants, and then that doesn't leave you with much.
no.
Okay, so when this is all happening, is there anybody in your life that you're like talking to that like a best friend or anybody, or are you bearing this all by yourself?
I'm bearing it all in myself. The
And
only so I did open up one time. One time to one kid. He was so after my mom and my first stepdad split, I was I was holding all the in. Like I was doing everything I could to just forget about it whenever I would remember it. And when my mom was married to my second stepdad, my older stepbrother would beat on me. And he would tell me not to tell. And every time he would do it, I would just look at him and be like, I've had worse happen to me. So I never snitched on him for like hitting me and shit. But one day I ran into him and his friends out the lake that we used to fish at. And I broke down to his friend about everything I went through, everything that happened, and everything that my older stepbrother was doing to me. And that was the only person that I ever confided in. And it was only because I thought his clothes looked cool as fuck. He was in all black with like a band t-shirt and like a wallet chain. And I've always thought that looked cool as fuck. And and like I told him about how I thought he looked super cool and like how like I wanted to look just like him whenever I got older and stuff. And like that was the only person I ever confided in. I never told my grandparents. I never told my brother or sister. I I never told
now,
anybody.
now, do you think that they were getting abused as well? Like, or is it just you? Like,
No, it was just me because my mom didn't have full custody over my brother and sister. So my brother and sister are my half brother and sister. My
okay.
first stepdad are my brother and sister's actual dad. I don't know my biological dad. I know his name. I've never met him. I've only had a 45-minute phone call conversation with him, and that was when I was 16. And yeah,
Okay. So what we're going to do now is shift the conversation to emotional detachment and the seeds of suicide idolation.
okay.
Um, so you, when you were younger, you felt like death felt like a way out, not something to fear. Would you say that's accurate?
Like,
Like for you, it was better to die and be gone than worry about the fear of dying.
oh yeah, yeah. So with the first two attempts that I did, which was trazodone, I only took 600 milligrams, and that's only because like I looked it up and it said that overdoses start at 600 milligrams. And like when that didn't work, like I wasn't scared at all. Like whenever I felt the trazodone kicking in and I felt myself getting like really tired, like it was like a very relieving feeling. Like, it was like, all right, it's gonna happen, you know. I'm just gonna go to sleep and I'm not gonna wake up. And but when I was able to get access to my gun, that just like made everything so much easier for the simple fact that like the gun was a to me, a 100% for sure way to die. It would be immediate, it would be painless, and I wouldn't have to worry about anything after that. But here I am.
Well, here you are, and I'm so glad, like I said earlier, that you are here. Let's talk about this a little bit. So, there's one story that we need to talk about before we go into the full suicides and go through them. And this is your dog. This was something that really meant a lot to you. And that was kind of, in my opinion, from talking to you, is kind of like the final straw,
Yeah.
is when you had to surrender your dog. Talk about that.
So my dog Maverick, he was a silver gray pit bull with a white diamond on his chest. Absolutely beautiful dog.
I love
I
pitties.
had him since he was 8 weeks old, and like I trained this puppy 100% on my own. He was absolutely so smart, and for some dumbass reason, I was believing that I was hearing voices, and I one day I heard in my sister's voice, like my dog. I heard my dog get riled up, like somebody was playing with him, and then I heard my sister's voice very calmly go, "Ow," my face, very quietly. Like it wasn't like something actually happened, but like I went into the kitchen and she was like, "Yeah, he bit my face," and I fucking smacked the fuck out of him for that. He knew way better than that than me fighting people's faces. Like he knew way better than that. And like it got to the point where like my family was like making me punish my dog for shit that he wasn't doing. And like I got it on video one day where like my brother did the same shit. He said ow in my face after my dog got riled up. And when I went into the kitchen, my brother and my sister's husband was just looking out the window. I was like, "What's Maverick barking at?" And there was like, "Oh, a bird on the fence." And the fence is like 30 yards away. And like, my dog wouldn't even bark at a squirrel. It'd run after a squirrel, but it wouldn't bark at a fucking bird or a squirrel. I know my fucking dog. Like, and immediately, like I went back to I brought my dog back to my room. I got on my phone. I replayed the video, and sure as shit, you hear it clear as day. My brother going, "Ow," my face, and that was the final straw. Like after that, I was like, "Yep, I'm fucking doing it. I'm getting rid of Maverick. I'm killing myself, and my family can just deal with the rest of my shit." And yeah,
I love pitties, and I have a pit bull as well. The best dog ever. I personally believe that pitties are the best breed ever. You know, we can open debate, but
after and like
what's that?
their whole breed was bred for protection. Like
Exactly. They actually
they're
were
not,
called nanny dogs.
yes, bro. Like they were the babysitters whenever like back in old times when the fucking men would go out in the woods hunting, collecting firewood and shit, and the wife would be at home, the dog would be there to guard the family. Like,
Yep. Tell me a little bit about you and Maverick's relationship.
oh,
What is something that that just that was it for you? Like how are you guys each other's human and spirit animal is what I like to call it, honey.
okay. So I knew 100% for a fact that Maverick was my animal when I first started taking my own walks. He picked up on leash training so fast. He picked up on when we would go out on walks so fast. Like and I realized that I feel like I might have been his person whenever I realized how intelligent he was. Just like it got to the point where like if he'd be heading towards something that he wasn't supposed to get into, I'd be like, no. And he stopped, turned around just to get back in bed. And like, it was like almost talking to a friend sometimes, you know? And like every day, like I'll roll up a blunt and I'd take him out on a walk and we'd go out in the woods and I'd smoke a blunt out in the woods and I'd just let him run around. And I'd bring his little ball and we'd play fetch. And like, I'd take him to Rural King and get pig ears. I'd give him treats all the time. And every single meal I ate, I made sure to give him at least a quarter of my food. Like, let's say I got like a Big Mac and a large fry and some nuggets at McDonald's. I split like half the nuggets and like half the fries with Maverick, and I eat the whole Big Mac myself. And like, I spoiled the shit out of that dog, dude. I fucking loved him. He would have been a great hunting dog too. Like he loved the woods, and like he wasn't the type of dog to run around sporadically throughout the woods. Like he looked like it was almost as if like he got in the woods and it was like he wasn't a hunting mode, where like he was like on the watch. Like he didn't veer too far off from me. Like whenever I was letting him off the leash, I used to stay within about 30 to 40 yards of me. Or all I'd have to be like, Mav, come here. And he'd come right back to me. And like it was just and I was so sad. Like when I woke up in the hospital and I asked my family if they could go find Maverick for me and they said that they couldn't, I was so sad. I was so sad.
Well, in a way, I think you did a great thing to Maverick, and it's kind of follows the token. If you love something enough, you let it go, and if it's truly yours, you'll come back. And the fact that you were 1 week later going to commit suicide, it's way better, because who knows what would have been the dog's fate if you hadn't been the one to make sure that it had a second chance. And as somebody, my dog is a 3-time rescue. You know what I mean? So I can just imagine the joy that Honey has brought me, just being with her. So your Maverick has lived on, I'm sure, to somebody else. So in a way, you should thank yourself for giving Maverick the best option, especially since in your case, you didn't think
I,
you were going to be around.
well, I certainly wasn't going to let him be around my family.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, you did right by him. That's awesome.
Right. And like, yeah, I did do a really, really shitty thing, and I dumped him in like a really rich neighborhood, but I dumped him in the richest neighborhood of Terre Haute. Like, if somebody took him in, I know he was going to be pampered and spoiled the way he deserved. But
Will be go ahead, time.
I didn't know anybody that lived in that area. I was, I was just hoping for the best outcome, you know.
Well, let's go with Maverick is in a forever home right now, living life. And, you are too, and that's one of the parts of healing, and that's what we're doing right now. So now we're going to go into the suicides. I believe there's 11 attempts, correct? Total?
Yes, 11. One of them I would not like to talk about, but
Yeah, we're
yeah,
not going to talk about that one, but we'll talk about the rest of them, including the
yeah,
shotgun.
yeah.
Now, talk a little bit about, we talked about suicide ideation, right? So when I almost committed suicide, I would have injected myself with gasoline. I used to take growth hormone, so I used to give myself shots. It made me taller than I, used to be. I was supposed to be like 5'2". I'm 5, I think 7 now,
Okay.
and it was when I was young, right? And I got actually picked on real bad in school, where I got slapped up the side of the head every day I went to school. Now, thankfully, I was, I have great parents and a great family and a great upbringing where nothing traumatic in the sense like what you experienced had happened. But I suffered a lot of my trauma with being isolated, very small, and getting in a lot of fights and not having a lot of people to turn to.
Right.
And my kind of like you know, how we talked about, you know, it's a very calm and peaceful thing when you're determined to do something to yourself. You know, talk
Yeah.
about the thought process. Like, okay, you know, you just gave your dog away. You know, you're gonna do it. So how does Henry get into the mode of the first attempt?
Well, so like the shotgun or the overdoses?
No, we're gonna start with attempt number one, which is trazodone.
So I still had Maverick at that time.
Okay. Okay, then let's talk about it.
Uh, at that time, I still had Maverick, and for both of the overdoses, like my thought process on it was just like it's just gonna be very relieving. Like I'm just gonna take a bunch of these pills. It was 15 pills. It was 15 pills at 50 milligrams apiece, and I added up to 600 milligrams. And I took the pills, and I was just sitting there watching TV, and like I would fight to sleep to a certain extent, so that way, like whenever I did close my eyes, it was just very quick of like falling asleep. And like whenever I started feeling tired, like it was like a sense of relief was just washing over me. It was like in my eyes, like it was gonna work. Like there was no reason for it not to, you know. And both of those attempts, like it was very relieving, feeling like the tiredness wash over me.
So the first time that this happened, you woke up and you went to the ER and told them that you accidentally mixed up the meds, right?
No,
No,
I never,
okay.
I never went to the ER for any of my overdoses except for my last overdose.
Okay, so when you wake up, talk about the thought process of being awake. So
Oh,
you just woke up and it didn't
immediate,
work. Do you want to go back or
immediate anger. I woke up pissed. Like I woke up and like I would like slap myself across the face to make sure that like it was real. And I'm sitting there smashing myself across the fucking face. And I'm just like, fuck. Are you fucking serious? Like I didn't even throw up. Like, are you serious? Like this is fucked. And it was probably about another month before I attempted the second time. And then it was probably about another 3 months before I attempted with the shotgun.
now why wait? Why not, you know, just
I
be like,
had
well, fuck it. I'm gonna go get a gun tonight and do it tonight then.
because of what was going on. The person who had my gun didn't really trust me the most with having it because of where I was
Mm.
mentally. So I had to like earn their trust and like reassure them that I was straight enough to have the gun. And yeah,
So you wanna take yourself out. You've tried 2 times so far,
right.
and you now are like on a mission, and you now have to earn trust from people that are holding essentially what you want. How does
Right.
that work?
Like, how does it work? Like, gaining their trust?
Exactly, especially when you know for a fact you want it for the exact same reasons that they're scared to give it to you. Like, how's your mind working at that point?
In a super fucked up way, I
Let's
had
go into
to
it.
hang out with them a lot more. I had to, like, hit them up a lot more, talk to them, play video games with them, hang out with them, smoke with them, you know? And, like, I had to, like, give them the reassurance that everything was okay when it wasn't. And that's why, like, a lot of the people that are going through suicidal ideations and nobody knows about it, I call those people master hunters because master hunters are amazing at blending in with their environment. They know that is the most important thing to being successful. And you blend in with the environment of everyone being under the assumption that everything's okay. And you wear that camouflage of everything's okay when it's not. You have a completely different mindset and you're on a mission to achieve a goal.
Now, at this time, were there any times like you slipped up where like you were getting close and then they're like, oh, we caught that,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Tell me about that.
So in a really, really fucked up way, um, so I was hanging out with my friend Peyton, and he was the one that had my gun, and we were sitting there playing UFC, and I made a comment about how, well, you might as well just go ahead and blow my fucking face off then, and like he looked at me and was like, what? And like I was like, what? He was like, you fucking serious? Right? I was like, no, dude. Like, seriously? You think we're being serious? Like, just blowing my fucking face off? Like, no. And yeah, just like
Now, oh, go ahead.
we were talking about like suicide and stuff. And, like I told him I was like I probably shouldn't even do it, dude. And like I'd probably fuck up and like not even be able to do it right. And like me saying that kind of gave him the reassurance of being like, okay, so if he doesn't even believe he needs to do it with this, so why should I feel unsafe in giving it to him?
Now, when they gave you the gun back, like how long did you have the firearm before you actually did the attempt?
11
Is it
days.
days or
11 days.
why wait? Why not? Yay, I achieved my mission. I can go to wherever I need to be now.
I was celebrating. I was celebrating. I was getting drunk as fuck, high as fuck. I tripped balls. I fucking.
I
Took
like tripping.
4 double dose tabs of acid. And I tripped balls. Like, I went out fishing out in the middle of nowhere. Like, I was literally just on my phone. And I found this lake tucked back in the woods on Google Maps. So I was like, what if I'm getting good to fish at? Sure as shit, dude. I so I went out to Walmart before I started tripping, bought brand new fishing equipment. The ultralight that was using for bluegill ended up breaking from the bass that I caught at that lake, and I got all of it on video. I've got all the fish that I caught on video. I got pictures of them, and like in the picture, you can see my eyes. My pupils look like the entirety of my eye, and it's just like Jesus, dude. But I was celebrating. I was celebrating. Like,
Henry, your camera fell over. I'm gonna have to
oh,
have you reset.
oh, there we go. Better.
As long as it's your camera and not you, you know.
Right, right. All right, I think that should be good, right?
I'll let you know.
All right. But yeah, um, I was celebrating. I was getting drunk as fuck. I threw my buddy a going away party before we went to basic training. I ended up drinking like 3/4 of a half gallon of Jose Cuervo in like an hour and a half. I ended up throwing up blood, passing out, and the friend that I threw the party for ended up putting his nuts in my face as I was passed out in bed. I got some great friends.
Yeah. Yeah, no, especially when you wake up with Sharpie or some dick drawn on your cheek or something like that. Yeah.
Oh,
Great
dude.
friends. And nobody tells you until you go to the bathroom. That's the even better part, is everybody can keep a straight face.
Yep. Yep. Well, as soon as they told me what happened about him putting his nuts in my face, I walked right over to him. He was passed out on the couch. I just let my shit out, and I just laid it out on his forehead. I, I was like, eye for an eye, motherfucker. Like,
That's hilarious. All right, so let's talk a little bit about um the shotgun. So you went to a remote area because you didn't want, like, when we talked, you didn't want like to be found by an innocent person, right? And you also sent text messages out to everybody. Your
yes.
brother, right? He's the one that was able to find you.
No. I called 911.
Okay, let's go into that. So we're at the lake. Let's walk through the entire thing as if we're going play by play. So
Okay.
you're out in the
So I
wilderness.
was late for 3 days, and on the third day, well, actually, the fourth day. On the fourth day, I had like a quarter gram of Bud Light, which was like a bowl, and then I had like 25, 35 bucks, and I called my mom and asked her if I could go do laundry, because at this point in time, like, I kind of like started to like empathize with my family a little bit and be like, I don't want to dig into my stuff and having to wash my clothes to put them up or to get rid of them or whatever they were trying to do with them. And so I wanted like everything to be clean besides what I was wearing. And I went to my mom's house and I ate lunch with her. And sorry, but I ate lunch with her and I ate dinner with my stepdad and my mom. And then I went out and I smoked the rest of the bud. And I told myself when I finished the last season of The Office, I was gonna do it. And I only had like 3 hours. Like I was on like the last season, so I just had to finish it. And when I finished it, I wrote out the text messages. I called 911, and as I called 911, I sent out the text messages, and then I shot myself.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
When you're about to commit suicide, do you
yeah.
see people differently, like family members? Is there more of like a euphoria when you went to go
Uh,
see your mom?
No. Only for the simple fact that I called her out on the whole news hearing voices bullshit. And when I called her out on it, she said nothing. Like, she just kept looking at the TV and kept eating her food.
Well,
So,
that
like,
leads me to believe that you are probably right.
right. And, like, when that happened, um, like, when that happened, I, I, I was so angry. I remember having to get up and go to the bathroom, and I was in the bathroom. I put the hot water on. I had my hands underneath the hot water in the sink, and my hands were shaking. And I remember throwing the hot water in my face, trying to calm down. And I walked out of the bathroom. I finished eating my Chinese food, and then, um, yeah, I finished my laundry and then ate dinner with my mom and my stepdad, and then left.
Okay, so we're out there and you have the shotgun.
Yeah.
How are you positioning it, and describe the scene?
Okay. So before I shot myself, so the action of me shooting myself is actually very rapid and very quick. While I was on the phone with 911, like you should hear it, like you can hear it on the audio of me punching myself in the face as the 911 operator is like talking to me, and like right after I hit myself in the face, I was threw the gun barrel underneath my chin. I remember feeling it like, so you know that space on your chin where like you can feel that bone that forms into your chin, like from the
Yes.
back to the front. I had the bone
Yes.
behind that.
Okay.
And I just remember just taking my right thumb and just going down, and everything went black. I fell forward. I smacked my face off the hood of the truck, fell into the front fender well. I had my left forearm on top of the tire, my right forearm inside the gravel. And I remember just like the ringing fading out. I just hear the 911 operator, and I just remember like feeling my face and being like, fuck. And but at that point, my whole world was just fucked. Cause like I didn't know where the gun was. I didn't even know where the fuck I was. And like I'm crawling all over the place, listening to the 911 operator, telling him that I'm like trying to convince him that I'm okay, but I'm very clearly not. And yeah,
Why? Okay, I got a question.
yeah.
Why is it that if you wanted to die so bad, why did you also want to be saved?
I did not want to be saved. The whole idea of calling 911 was so that when I did shoot myself, someone within a certain profession whose line of work would possibly lead them to find a suicide victim within their profession were to find me and not some random person like a grandfather or uncle taking their nephew or grandson to a lake to go fishing.
Fair enough. Okay. So when this goes off, um, I can relate similar in the sense that one time I was paintballing and I was hiding behind a bunker and somebody accidentally pulled the trigger to their gun and I got shot in the back of the head with the paintball.
Oh,
And I experienced the same ringing where it's just a constant ring where you can't hear anything else. Everything almost seems like it's silent except for the ring, right?
right. And then like
Okay.
the ringing fades out and like the actual audio that you hear on the outside world starts coming through as the ringing fades out. And it's not like it's the same volume, it gets louder gradually.
Yes, I experienced the same euphoria. Now, when this is happening, when does pain set in for a
No.
traumatic?
Oh,
Never.
hey, no. So it wouldn't hurt unless I pulled the wadding of the buckshot out of my face. And the first two times I tried doing it was from the inside of my mouth, and it hurt and it caused me to puke. So I had to pull it out from the front of where my nose was.
So when the gunshot goes off, it does it. So obviously you don't have a nose cavity anymore. That's where the gauze is now. It
Right.
took off your nose during the gunshot, or was that after surgery?
No, so like the whole initial gunshot pretty much blew off my nose. I don't remember feeling any part of my nose. If I did, it just felt like flesh. I shouldn't actually feel like nostrils or the bridge of my nose or anything like that.
Now you're crawling around, and
Right.
what happens? Because you do, or did you, or did not lose consciousness?
I did. I lost consciousness twice.
Okay.
Um, the first time I lost consciousness, I was laying on my belly, and I just remember like getting real cold and thinking like, okay, like I'm gonna die. Like and like I just went with it. Like I could feel myself getting tired, but I just went with the feeling of being tired and just passed out. And I woke up the 911 operator yelling for me, and then I passed back out. I woke up again to hearing the drone that they had to use to find me, and then the third time when the police officer showed up.
Now, when the police officer showed up, did were they try to talk to you? Were you conscious going to the
Yeah,
hospital?
I was conscious. I was able to do like yes and no answers. I remember like at one point they tried to have me roll over on my back to look for extra weapons, and I freaked the fuck out and like kind of assaulted the cop a little bit, and was just like, I can't breathe on my back. I can't breathe on my back. And I remember crawling up my truck and having my hands on the hood of the truck and like my legs out of where I was kind of like starfishing, and they were able to check my waistline and my pockets for any other weapons I didn't have any, and the ambulance came and picked me up.
Now, if you put the gun under your chin, correct?
Yes.
Now, that skin that's under your chin, was that transported from other places of your body or is that just closed up?
That's just closed up from.
Okay.
I, honestly, I want to say it's like skin regrowth. Um, but yeah.
So, going through this, you're in the hospital. What are you thinking about as you're slowly recovering? Like, are you thinking about doing it again? Are you planning something better? Like, what's going
No,
on?
so like in the hospital, I wasn't thinking about doing it again. Like honestly, I didn't start trying to commit suicide again until after my dad died of brain cancer,
Sorry to hear that.
and yeah, um, yeah,
So, when you were unconscious, going back just a little bit, you felt like you were in a spiritual courtroom where you were being judged.
yeah.
Uh, so
And this
let's talk a
is in
little
the
bit about this.
hospital. This is in the hospital. This wasn't like me going in and out of consciousness right after I shot myself. This is while I was in the hospital. So in the hospital, I remember having a hallucination of where I was pretty much being sentenced to hell to repent for my sins. And I would see, like, the judge's bench, the little spot where, like, the person would go to, like, speak for if they had evidence against someone or something, where, like, the jury would sit off to the right, and, like, the two tables in front of where, like, the defendant and the prosecutor would be and all that. And I'm sitting in the middle of all that, and I'm being sentenced to hell to repent for my sins. And everything just kind of went into like a whirlwind and like a tornado type thing. I got sucked into like this other thing where I was strapped down to a table. I could only look up, and I was in a bluish black room with all sorts of different tools, size, and this assortment of different blades and saws hanging on the wall, a bookcase, and then a door to the right of the bookcase. And I heard Satan's laugh outside the door. And I remember passing out, and I woke up, and there was a janitor in the fucking hospital room. And as soon as I heard him, I went in the fight or flight mode, dude. And apparently, whenever I'm fucked up and I don't know where the fuck I'm at, I immediately go in the fight mode. Because I beat the fuck out of that janitor, dude. Like, I ran out of the bed, I rushed him, tackled him, started beating his fucking face in. I had like 2 or 3 security guards dragging me off of him. 3 or 4 different nurses were straining me to the bed to administer fucking meds to make me pass out. And it was a fucking trip, bro. Like, I felt bad. Like after hitting this dude in the face like 4 times with my right fist, I started using my fucking elbow. And like, yeah, the dude was covering up, but like, I'm still fucking hitting him like full force with an elbow going into his face. Like, it wasn't some ring around the rosy shit. Like, I was fighting the fight. Like, I thought that I was in hell. And I remember the nurses asking me, they were like, "Where do you think you are right now?" And I was like, and I remember spelling out HELL. And they were just like, "You are not in hell. You are in the hospital." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And that's whenever they administered the medicine, knocked me out, because I think they realized like until I was able to like be coherent enough to register like and remember what I did, I was gonna be unsafe to people around me. And yeah,
So, speaking a little bit about that, now you actually still have pellets in your face,
yeah,
um, and some of them work them out through their skin. And your new friend Tristan, who you met,
yeah,
he actually talks about the same thing where one day it like this, there's a piece of lead, um, you lost your entire ability to see. So you don't see shadows or lights or have
yeah.
any visual perception at all. What is
I
life
see.
like now compared? Obviously, it's, you're blind, but what is it like? Do you think that you appreciate life more in the sense of being blind, where
Uh,
there's a benefit to it, or talk about it?
there is some perks. I mean, I definitely cherish my time with my girls a lot more than I think I would if I could see. Because I think if I could see, I'd be more worried about what I would want to do and what I could do because I could just go out and do it. And but other than that, I mean, it's definitely a lot weirder having to travel around the world based off of feeling. I will tell you that.
Now, you made an interesting statement that being blind actually makes you feel like you enjoy your time more with your children around the house because they you can't see distractions. In a
Right.
way, that's actually kind of profound because it's kind of like in my sense putting the cell phone down and really just focusing. And one thing that I struggle with a lot is being in the moment, and it seems that your darkness has actually made you more about the moment and being in it. So that's very interesting. Why do you think, and why do you see it that way?
Well, so I'll say this. So like whenever like we go out to eat, and let's say I'm with my mother-in-law and like my girls and my wife, I'm more concerned with listening to everything going on around me because I don't want to miss anything. Like I don't want to miss like something funny that one of the girls might say, or I don't want to miss out on a nice conversation with them. And it really makes me appreciate like the little things, like and it truly makes me realize that the things in life that you cherish most are the things that you can't hold on to.
What would you say today your opinions on suicide would be? Like if somebody said, what do you think? And like, let's say like they didn't even know you had committed suicide, right? Let's pretend that they have no clue who you are and you were presented the question, what do you think about suicide today? What would you say to the younger version of yourself?
It's an epidemic.
It's
Um,
what?
it's an epidemic. I believe a lot of it has to do with society and how society is looking at suicide nowadays. Um, I think a lot more people look at suicide as a way out instead of leaving everything that you love. And it's just a really, really sad thing. You know what I mean?
I do. Now, when you say how society looks at suicide, from your perspective as a survivor, how does society look at it?
So, like, whenever people, so when I first like came home and like I told people like I tried to commit suicide, that 98% of the time I'm gonna hear somebody say something along the lines of like God loves you or something like that. Like there's only been a few, like very few times have I ever heard somebody be like that's a shame. And I think that's because like people look at suicide as a way out, and I think more and more people are looking at it as something that's not a cowardly thing to do. You know what I mean? Like it seems more reasonable of an idea nowadays, which is dumb.
No, I
Hello?
I have no. I'm here. I want to give you pause just in case if you wanted to add. I never know if you're done
Okay.
talking, and I'd hate to over talk you. I have a controversial belief on suicide, mainly in the fact that you made a statement
I,
that some
I
people just
do
feel like it's a way out. Oh, good.
in certain cases I can understand it. And like hear me out on this.
Yeah, go for it.
If you're diagnosed with like
Yes.
let's say like 4 or 5 different terminal cancers at once, and your family was gonna watch you either A wither away for the next year or two, or B had the opportunity to have one final hurrah with you and then remember you at your top and not your bottom. Or if you're like a quadriplegic, I can kind of see it in that aspect as well.
Yeah, I share the same thought process and the same of the terminally ill. It's much better to find, like, in I think it's Sweden has the assisted suicide, and there's a couple other countries now that adopt it. And it's this little capsule that you sit in, and what they do is they pump in a gas. The gas, knocks you out, and then they administer another gas that pretty much stops your heart. But it's a very
Yeah.
painless, very humane way of doing it. And I agree with you, if you are terminally ill or the quality of your life is literally like 1 to 0%, I would much rather, like you said, be remembered at a very good stage versus for 12 years, dying. And
Right.
now not only am I going to die because it's terminal, but at the same time, you know, now this person who's going through the situation now also has to say, well, now how long do I have? And what if I don't do it at this time? And what if the
Right.
cancer lingers on and it's still not treatable? So now I'm playing at the mercy of this horrible disease.
And sometimes chemo and radiation doesn't work. So like,
Yeah. That's why, I really think that it's a human right. And if you are truly suffering, I'm not saying that people should commit suicide, but if you are truly suffering and it's your time, some people just know it's their time. I think there should be a humane option that is respected, that allows the proper mourning processes and allows the person to feel really go. I'm actually starting hospice work, and I haven't started yet, but I got to
oh,
get
what?
my shot and some other stuff. And I'm going to be working with Honey at hospice centers for children, and
No
and I'm go.
way.
Oh yeah, yeah. And this is all donated. I don't get paid for this, and I
Dude,
applied to
hell
go to.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I want a new perspective on life. And that's why talking to people like you, yeah, it can be uncomfortable situations for some viewers. I don't find it uncomfortable. I find it welcoming that somebody would take the time to sit down with me and actually give me the truth so I can learn how to better, provide, conversation to those who have also related to similar type scenarios. But when I work with these hospice people, I'm going to talk a lot when I build my relationship with them and they're comfortable with it about this because, in a way, I'm trying to build my own relationship with death. We all know it's going to happen eventually, sooner or later. And it's
Right.
just so interesting how people value life, time, money, themselves, and how even the strongest human could get lost and derailed, or terminally ill. There's just so many things that can happen along the way. So, not to get off on a rant about assisted suicide, but I'm interested. I was interested in that. And your
No,
feedback
no.
on that.
Like, I'm honestly glad that we had that right mindset on that. Because honestly, I've been afraid to voice my opinion on assisted suicide, especially after living what I lived through. Because I feel like people will look at what I'm saying and being like, oh, so he's just like, he thinks it's just a way out, and that's what he should.
But you've said multiple times tonight that it's not a way out. And for you to recognize that, and it's not a way out, it's not an escape because, as you learned, you're leaving people behind. There's one facet of it. Two is, well, what if it doesn't work? The repercussions of now living with a decision that you made and how that's affected your life. Now, great for you, and that's what I really like about you, Henry, is you're positive. Every time I talk to you, you remind me of somebody that's won $1 million that's sitting on an island right now, just the way you are. And to have that rich mindset is going to do you so well as far as trying to tell your story and communicate with people. Because nobody wants to hear a sad story. They want to learn how we can be empowered. And tonight we're doing such. So talk a little bit about moving forward with everything. Hold on, get my notes.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the fact that you look at me as that, because in all reality, I'm not even close to that. Because if
Well, I
I'm being
appreciate
completely
your
honest,
honesty.
like last night, I was on the phone with 988, having like a little emergency therapy session with someone, because I wasn't in the right headspace in that moment to, I guess, dive into all of this like I am right now. And like so one of the things that we had talked about was like night terrors and nightmares, right?
Yes.
Last night I had a night terror where I woke up and I was choking out the pillow right next to my wife's face. And like I just woke up in this mindset of just like I shouldn't fucking survive, and it that is a reality that hits harder than anything else. Like I sit here and I think about how me and my wife are pregnant every day. But the reality of that does not hit me anywhere near as hard as the reality of I shouldn't be here. And it's very strange in all reality.
I appreciate that honesty. And I will tell you, I am much like you. I am not always this great happy guy. There are a lot of times where I live in my own turmoil. And I actually wrote that blog talk, called Walking Waking Up in Turmoil, and where you're not where your dreams really change the way you feel during the day. And I struggle sometimes to find my happiness. I can be extremely negative to myself. So those emergency therapy sessions I have with Lacey, who's like, you need to chill the fuck out. I don't know why you're saying all this stuff to yourself. It's not true. But that's something that we live with. So what are ways that you deal with that? Like how did you reset yourself before today?
So today it was just a constant thinking of everything that's going to come out on this podcast, no matter how fucked up it is, there's somebody out there that's going through either A, similar, or B, worse. And what I'm saying can really help someone in those shoes.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, Henry. And the way you've been so transparent, and we still have time. We still have another 20 minutes here.
Oh, yeah.
Is just amazing. And that's what I like about you. And it's okay. Where I'm human. I'm not perfect. I don't try to be perfect. I'm an average guy with average problems, just like everybody else in the world, right?
Right.
It's what we do when we face those challenges, how we talk to ourselves, how we love ourselves. And that is something I'm a student in. I am not like the professor here. I am the student learning and trying to educate myself through real people. Instead of hearing
Right.
it from the world, I want to hear it from you. And one of the blessings about me is I don't see color, I don't see race, I don't see what people look like. If you're nice to me, I'm going to be nice to you. Flat out and simple. There's nothing, no strings attached. And that's the way the world should be. Just because you're disabled, just because you look different, just because maybe you have freckles and another person doesn't, it doesn't mean you're different. Talk a little bit about how you made something that said, what I'll mostly get from people is God loves you versus that's a shame. Why is that significant to you?
Well, for the simple fact that, like, immediately, like, like people's reaction go from what I feel is like a loving place and trying to be sympathetic to that, like, it's a shame. Like, you shouldn't have done that. Like, and you being you now is the reason why you shouldn't have tried it. And, like, that's the difference in all reality.
So, what would you say to the critic, and what would you say to the person that would have said, God loves you?
If I'm being, like, 100% real,
Yes, please.
to the person who tells me that God loves me, I've always wanted to tell them that God isn't real. Um, I believe in aliens, and, like, with that, I mean, if aliens are proven to be real, that destroys every single religion out there. Like, not one religion would be left standing besides maybe Buddhism or Hinduism. I'm not too like exactly sure on like what those beliefs are, but I really believe that those would only be like the only two religions out there left after like aliens are like confirmed to be real. Either that or Scientology. And the fucking fact that I'm saying that Scientology might actually be real is fucking that just blows my mind. Like the belief that time travel is real and that like someone's gonna come back from the future and just I don't believe that. I definitely believe in aliens though. I don't believe in God. Um a lot of people are always surprised to find that out though, that I don't believe in God after what I've lived through. They're like, "You don't believe in God?" It's like, no. Like, have you ever believed in God? It's like, no. If God was real, there's no way in hell that he would let everything that's going on this planet happen without some sort of repercussions.
Well, I guess some could argue that maybe that's a part of the free will that he gives humans. They could destroy the planet if they want to, or they could make it a better place.
Well, I mean, Australia did make the world's first black box instead of record the world's destruction. I thought that was pretty cool.
See, I don't know enough on these things. I think I'm going to have to watch some documentaries and do some fact checking because to me,
Dude,
there's no right or wrong. To me, I think everybody should be entitled to what they believe in as long as it's prosperous and it doesn't hurt anybody. You know what I
like,
mean?
as long as you're
And
not like pushing the agenda of that
yeah,
belief, then
and
you're
with
free.
all the UFO footage being released, aliens probably are real.
Dude, not even okay. Do you have Hulu?
Do I have Hulu? Yes. No. Yes, I do.
Do you have Hulu stuff?
I do. Well, Lacey does. I don't. Lacey does.
So hop on there, watch every episode of this docu series. Okay, it is a documentary series on a place out west. I think it's like Nevada, Utah area, but it's in the area of Skinwalker Ranch, and it's called The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. And dude, the shit that they fucking find and discover and actually document on footage is fucking unreal. Like, I don't understand how like religions haven't been buckling under the pressure of this documentary series. Like I don't understand how like people aren't like flipping their lids about what is found on that series. Like it's crazy.
No, that definitely sounds interesting. I will check that out and get back to you, and then we can discuss on Discord all of our findings. But that's interesting. I always love a good documentary or some type of information. But to kind of get back on track here,
Yeah.
um, for those who say that men cannot be victims of sexual and emotional abuse, what do you say to that?
I'm so sorry, I got a notification. I'm just turn my voiceover off real quick. Alright, there you go. I'm
All
so
right.
sorry.
Okay. For people out there who say that men can't be victims of sexual and emotional abuse, right? Because
Oh,
you're a
that
guy, we're strong, you should be able to defend yourself. What do you have to say to that?
it's completely false. for the simple fact that men are viewed as the stronger, more independently independently managing themselves better than anyone else. And it's like men almost get put in this, I don't know what to call it. It's like they get put in this
category.
Yes, category. This category of they need to do X, Y, and Z, and if they can't, then they're not a man. And that's just not it at all. Like, men are people too. Like, they have thoughts, they have emotions, they have feelings, just like everyone else. And to those who think that crying isn't, like, a man shouldn't cry is bullshit too. Like, crying is pain and weakness leaving the body. And there's nothing wrong with crying.
Oh, I cry more as an adult than I did as I remember as a child. Or maybe it's equal, I don't know. But I'm always tearing up somewhere. Literally the other day I broke down in my kitchen and was just like crying, and Lacey had to give me a big hug, and I had to feel better because, like I said, I'm not perfect and I actually battle my own mental health. And there are some days where I just feel just wiped out, like a bus hit me. So I want to talk a little bit too about what do you think the media portrays suicide survivors as, and what would you be your correction to outside looking in?
In a fucked up way, I really think that people view suicide survivors, and this goes into like with the whole thing that Entertainment Tonight did with Tristan. They didn't get the facts right. So I really think that they look at people like that as someone who's going to attract more viewers and get them more likes, more comments, more views, or whatever. And like, if you're gonna respect someone who's lived through that, you need to get the facts right. And if you're not going to, then to me, it just seems like you're trying to profit off of what they've lived through in some form of way.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I was talking to somebody else the other day who they put, I think it was dry ice or something in their car, and they rolled up the windows, and they're looked at as crazy for the people that know them. Oh, you're crazy. You tried to do this, you know what I mean? And it's one of those things where I think it needs to be, how would you describe it when you were in that state of mind? Describe it, like to give you an example word, disease. Do you think it's a disease when you're terminal like that and you really want to go out, or how do you view that in your mindset, or how did you versus now and then?
For me personally, it was just mass hysteria and chaos and anarchy. Like, in the moment of doing it, like, getting up to the point of like calling 911 and then like telling them to either report a suicide and all that, like, it was just anarchy. Like, I just wanted to get it over with. I wanted to like get my point out, let them know where I was, and just show myself. And there's no other way around it other than that. Like, it was just chaos and anarchy inside my head. Because
No, I
like, I
definitely.
wanted it so bad, but I had to make sure that they knew where I was, or at least a rough idea of where I was. And yeah.
No, thank you for answering that. Yeah, because I've always wondered, and you're a person that would be a great person of resource to answer that question. So thank you for that. Let's talk a little bit. We have about 15 minutes left.
Uh,
I want to switch this over to you. So
okay.
for the last 15 minutes, I would like to know like what we should know or what you want to also bring to the table, and just leave it for you to kind of carry us out.
Okay. Um. If anything, if there's any type of advice that I could give, whenever it comes to something that seems impossible, always remember you have to learn to crawl before you can walk.
Ooh, nice one.
And you're not gonna be able to do things that are perceived as big or like massive life things overnight. Um, it takes time. You gotta work for it. You have to earn it. You have to put in the dedication and the time to actually have what you want. Um, and always be true to yourself. Always be true to yourself. And one thing that I will say, one thing that I feel that is just as important as self love, I feel like self hate is just as important as self love. Because if you're truly honest with yourself and those portions of yourself that you don't like and that you wish were better or wish that you could change about yourself, you can. It just takes time. And focusing on those bad parts of yourself and changing those into better portions that you like about yourself and that you're happy with is honestly showing yourself another form of self love. And there's nothing that could destroy anything that you have after you've been able to master that ideology. And I'm not a master at it by any means. I'm still working on it. But I mean, I find that I'm in way better of a headspace, way better of a mood, and just I have more energy thinking like that. Like I wake up thinking like, what's one thing that I could change about today that I didn't do yesterday? You know, like what's one thing that I could improve on today that I didn't do yesterday? You're starting out with little things like that. Um, um, never stop doing what you love. Um, never ever fall in line with someone else's ideology or what they want you to do. Um, follow your own path. Your life is your life and nobody else's. Don't live a life that you don't want to live because then you're not going to be happy. They say that if you truly love your work, you'll never work a day in your life. And I believe that to be true, you know? Like, when I did have a job, I had a fucking awesome job. I was a welder at Great Dane. And I was making really good money. And it's, like I was on my way to achieve my dreams. I just went down a different road. And I didn't keep following my dreams and what I wanted out of life. And there is some sadness that comes with that. But, you know, don't ever forget, shit happens. Like, nothing, you can't plan something to go, like, you can't always plan something and have it go exactly the way you want it to. You can't, you need to always expect something to go wrong, because if you expect or plan for something to go wrong and nothing does go wrong, then you're just in a better position than what you were in. And it's always better to be prepared than unprepared. It's better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. Um, but that's pretty much everything that I can think of like advice that I can give off the top of my head at the moment.
I think that's very profound advice, and it's really good advice. I was actually taking notes and being like, yeah, I need to do some of that myself. And one thing is, the fastest way to be where you want to be is slowly. And that falls right along with what you said, where you are who you are, and you can't change that.
Yeah,
And you got to work with what you got.
yeah,
And, you can learn to love it or you can continue to hate it. But you know, like you and like Tristan, obviously, whether it's aliens or God or whoever, somebody says that you have some work to do here before you can go anywhere else. So, in that case, I'm just, again, so glad that you're here. And now that you're a personal friend of mine, where, you're in my Discord, we're starting to talk a lot more. It's really cool because it's not just a podcast, it's a real relationship that we've built through getting to know each other over mental health. And that's why mental health is so important. It's another way of connecting with people,
yeah,
just like food and music and cannabis. And you smoke too. So,
yeah.
I just think that's great.
I'm actually waiting on the wife to get back so that we can go smoke a con before we eat.
Right? Well, all right. So we got 3 minutes left. Um, Anything else that we should know about Henry?
Um, no matter what kind of a front I put on, there's always something going on behind the covers. Um, nothing, nothing's ever, nothing's ever been as perfect as it has been now. And for me to say, hang on, give me 1 second. I think my wife's back. Yep, she's back.
I am so good with time. I said we had 3 minutes left, and then bam! All right. For those that are watching, we are about to finish up here. And if you want to talk to Henry more, you could join our Discord and check him out. We have a great group of people, and
Oh,
let's get him back in here. Hello.
from my personal experience, the podcast, not the podcast, but the Discord chat is honestly like, in many ways, I feel like it's like a weird therapy session where I can sit there and connect with people and just just in multiple ways realize I'm not alone with certain things.
I really appreciate you saying that because I do try to make it very intimate, very nice. Everybody in there supports everyone.
Oh
And that's
yeah,
one of the benefits to what this platform is all about. It's not just about a 1 day podcast, it's about the way we live and treat each other and the way we look at ourselves and look at life, and to be able to see the bigger picture and know that there's more out there and be able to thrive. And yes, I have things going on in the background too. So when you said that statement, I was like, that's a statement that I need to say as well, because no matter what fronts I put on, there's always something going on in the background. But that's life, and like you said, that's the reality. When we learn to kind of dance in the chaos versus fight it, it almost becomes like a musical. And I think that balance is something that we always will in life try to kind of swing by, especially me. I mean, I never know what I'm going to get, kind of like a box of chocolates, right?
Right, right.
Oh, you haven't seen Forrest Gump. I forgot. Oh, man.
I've seen
You,
Forrest. I've totally
okay.
seen Forrest Gump.
I think it was Tristan that told me that he hadn't seen Forrest Gump. Somebody recently just told me that they hadn't seen it. And I was like, so you have no idea what that quote's from.
I'm not gonna lie, Forrest Gump and Castaway, two of my favorite movies with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, except for when he takes that tooth out with the ice skate. Ooh, that was
Ooh, yeah,
painful to watch.
yeah.
Hey, okay, so I got two last questions and then we're gonna be off.
All
First
right.
question: what do you think you got the most out of being on the podcast tonight?
Oh, I got to share my story, and I got to be able to hopefully potentially connect with some people that really needed some help. And hopefully them hearing my story makes them realize that the fucked up shit that they've gone through, they're not alone. And hopefully that was given the courage to go out and get the justice that they deserve. If possible. You know what I mean?
100%. And it will. And that's why now that it's on YouTube, it'll live forever and
Yep.
hopefully get millions and millions of followers and likes one day. And
Uh-huh.
who knows, maybe I'll see you on a talk show or something, like who knows?
Well, I mean, all the credit would go to you for helping me start this, man.
Oh, I didn't do anything. You're the
Yeah,
star. You're the
no,
person that's
man.
rocking it. I'm just
You,
so glad to have you here, to be honest.
hey, I'm glad to be here. You've organized an absolute amazing organization, and
I
what
don't.
you
It's not an
do,
organization. It's my company, but I feel like it should be an organization now that you mentioned it.
I feel like it should be. Just
That's
with like
awesome.
Madman Plant like .org, I can totally see that,
That's
and
awesome.
like I can totally see it with everything that you're doing, man. Like you're doing some absolutely amazing work. And I would personally encourage you to keep pushing on and keep doing what you're doing, man.
Oh, I will. And with people like you helping me lead the way, I mean, it is amazing the stories and the impact and the reach and just the healing that we can get. Just talking is a therapy. Being able to just vent is a
Yeah,
therapy. And it's so underestimated because, we, like you discussed earlier, we feel ashamed. We feel like people are going to call us crazy or they're not going to understand what we're going through or they're going to think that we're just complaining. There's a lot of variables on how we release our stress. And until we know truly what works for us, and that's why you having Madison, is just a blessing. Somebody that truly sees you for you, helps you with your bandages, helps you with the kids,
yeah,
helps you get to where you want to be. I mean, I credit my entire existence now as a married adult to my wife because she is truly the backbone of like all of this, just like I'm sure Madison is in your family. And without these very important women, we can't go out there and be these great guys. And
yeah,
now that we are becoming these great guys by encouraging people and just being there and being real and present, that just means so much to the world, to everybody that we will encounter.
yeah.
So it is very cool. Well,
I
guys,
don't agree with it anymore.
we have more podcasts coming up. Tomorrow, I will be in Fredericksburg for the mental health panel, which I am so excited. It's my first series of events. These are monthly events that I'm doing. So if you're local to Fredericksburg, come on out. Now, they're not cannabis related. It's about entrepreneurship, healing, parenting, and other stuff, but it follows the same guideline because it's all under Vindec EU, which, if you're wondering what Vindec EU means, it means I heal in Romanian, and I am Romanian. So it works out, and it's a beautiful way to just say that you're here. That red cross is a sign of health, healing. And when we look at like even like video games or anything that's med related, we see that plus. And as somebody that saved my best friend's life when he was choking through the Heimlich maneuver, to talking to wonderful people like Henry tonight on the podcast, this is my due diligence and service to my community to create safe space. And this is a non-judgmental, non-biased platform that tells the truth. And those truths come to the individuals that come on. Whether the world wants to judge them after they're gone, that's up to the world. But here, everybody's safe, everybody's equal, and everybody's heard. And Henry, once again, thank you so much for coming on tonight, by the way.
Thank you for having me, man.
Well, if you want, join me in Discord. I'm going over to Discord after we get off. Henry, stay on for 1 minute. I'm going to close out, and then I'll tell you when you can talk again. Guys, have a wonderful night. Go to madmanplant.com. Check out our blogs. There will be a blog on this interview hopefully tomorrow, so you can read about it, watch this podcast again, get inspired. And if you know that somebody's out there going through what Henry went through, share this video. It's the best thing you can do. We'll see you guys soon.